Hi, this is Prati from Recreate My Story. This is our first podcast at Recreate My Story. And the reason why we are doing this specific podcast to launch Recreate My Story as a podcast channel is to get people really, really up close and personal to themselves, not to us or not to somebody else, but to themselves. And the reason why it's important, I feel, is that there is so much white noise out there. And there's so much noise out there, what you should do, what you shouldn't do in terms of your mental well-being, in terms of physical well-being, in terms of your sexual well-being, in terms of whether you're in your 30s, your 20s, your 40s. There's so much out there that I want to narrow that content and bring the best out to you so you can leave out the fluff and take something that's really, really valuable to you and apply it in your life easily without wasting too much money. You have this perfect person or therapist you can connect with, or maybe you can connect with somebody else who has the same kind of energy, who is directly approachable to you or available to you. But you at least know what's the starting point in your life if you're going through a healing journey or whatever journey you are on right now. I'm in my 30s and I'm a big advocate of talking with women in their 30s. I'm connected to over 9,000 women through Perth Women's Circle. So I'm going to give them a shout out, Perth Women's Circle. Shout out to Dinda, who has contributed a lot in my journey. And she's a local in Perth. And with those women, I'm able to understand what pain they go through in their everyday trauma. So before we go ahead, we have Nizam as a guest today, and who is in India, in Bangalore, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Currently present in Bangalore. Okay. Because last time you were traveling when I spoke with you. And you're local, living in Bangalore, correct?
No, I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad. I'm settled in Bangalore.
Okay, fantastic. So, Nizam, I'm going to ask you some unleashed questions, because what I least want to do is to have anything capped or anything that is not coming from the heart. And if it is not authentic, or if it doesn't solve something uncapped, something unleashed, then people won't be able to connect with it. And today I want to myth bust hypnotherapy, like myth busting hypnotherapy. It has really helped me in my life. I've had like maybe 3 sessions with you and 4 sessions in the past in my life in total. So maybe 7 sessions in total in my whole life, and I'm 36. But those 7 sessions has contributed to an immense wellness, to something I can give a shout out. Even when I was the first session I had, it was when in my 20s. And I took that decision because I told you that story. I had last $200 in my pocket, and
Yes.
I had paid a fees of $10,000 of international student. I was 23 and I was feeling so burnt out that I thought, like, if I don't feel better, I don't think where my next 10,000 is coming from for the next semester. So I straight went to a hypnotherapist.
That was the best investment on yourself.
I think so. That was my first session and I would never forget it. That's how powerful it was. And I figured out my next 10,000 in a much cool, composed and a much calmer way, as opposed to, oh my God, way. So let's straight jump on to the first question. What truly is hypnotherapy, and in technical terms, and something also a 5-year-old can understand, if you don't mind us explaining that?
Yeah, sure. So before we understand in the technical terms, to help you, like, if I have to, I did explain the same way to a 5-year-old boy. So I will share the same experience, Prati. So I said, like, there is this Arabian Nights story, Aladdin and Genie. Aladdin rubs the lamp and the genie comes, and genie fulfills all the wishes of Aladdin. So the genie is nothing but subconscious mind, and we all are Aladdins. Our lamp is nothing but hypnosis, which helps us to talk to the genie directly. So this is what I explained to the kids, and the genie is nothing but the subconscious mind, and how we rub the lamp to contact the genie is nothing but the hypnotherapy. That is my children's version of hypnotherapy definition.
That is so cool. And how do you explain it in technical terms? Like, yeah, this is
Okay.
how
In
this is how it
technical,
works on your brain or something. Yeah.
yes. There are a number of definitions, but this is my favorite standard definition, Prati. So we all have critical faculty or logical mind. So what we do is we bypass the critical factor of the logical mind and access the subconscious mind to do the therapeutic work. So hypnosis is nothing but bypassing this critical faculty, accessing the subconscious mind, and do the healing work. This is in the layman's term for the adults to understand what hypnotherapy is all about.
That's so beautiful. And I was once told by a hypnotherapy that hypnotherapist who is my friend here in Perth locally. He's a 50-year-old gentleman, and he told me that hypnotherapy, and I loved how he explained it to me, because I really that just hit me. And if correct me if I'm wrong, he said it's like from the limbic or from the emotions to up, instead of trying to work out your emotions from top down.
Yeah, see, possible it is um, about top down or bottom up approach. I would keep it aside. Yes, see, it is not that, Prati, people say like, please keep your logic aside, please don't be emotional. It is not possible. However, we need to understand that we are a combination of logic and emotions. Yet, we are not allowing our logic to interfere with our healing process. So for that, we need trance, so that we are able to access our subconscious mind to deal with what is suppressed, repressed, and which is dormant. It could be your emotions which have happened, like past trauma. It could be certain things, even the good things you have forgotten about. So there are many things which are underlying in your deep subconscious mind. So hypnotherapy helps us to access.
Wow.
Our rooms are built quite from long time. So let's open and heal it.
So true. Because intellectualizing or logically thinking, I've found hypnotherapy in my life as a Mariana Trench in the ocean, where I could judge that the ocean is deep, and I could measure the Mariana Trench by meters if when I was logically thinking. But I had no idea the depth of it. What does the depth feel like, and what is hidden in the depth, and what kind of monsters are in there. But when I took the deep dive, I felt everything through hypnosis, and it was more calming as opposed to dangerous. So intellectualizing kind of didn't work. It worked temporarily, but didn't work. Let me go to my second question, which is, how is hypnotherapy different from a therapy, like from a therapeutic point of view, in terms of a psychologist or a counselor provides, different from a hypnotherapy?
Okay. See, here comes a beautiful analogy of a burger. The credit goes to one of my mentor, Daniel Ganime. Okay, he's from Lebanon. He gave this beautiful analogy of hypnotherapy and how it is different from the other psychotherapy tools, Prati. So, what happens in hypnotherapy is we induce the trance, which means a person goes into the trance and the person comes out of the trance, which we call it as emerging out of the trance. So, inducing the trance is the upper layer of your burger, and coming out of, which is emerging out of the hypnotherapy, is the base of your burger. So whatever this stuff filled in between, that is the therapy part. So once a person is induced into the trance, we can utilize any therapy in the world.
Wow.
What the psychologists are using in a wakeful state, which is solution focused therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy, you name any therapy, we can use those therapies effectively in the trance. The only difference between the hypnotherapy and other psychotherapy models is that we are utilizing the same therapeutic tools. However, the person is in trance, so that we are able to access the deeper layers of our subconscious mind. we are having no distractions.
Yes.
The person is fully with himself or herself. And when a person is going through emotional issues, Pradeep, the number one thing is they are out of or out of touch, or they are not in touch with their body. When a person is in trance, they are fully with their what we call is somatic. So a person is fully into themselves with their body, accessing their emotions, no denial, and accessing the very deep layers of their subconscious mind. And the same psychotherapy tools are being utilized there. So hypnotherapy, only thing is one step ahead. We are using the psychotherapy tools and doing the same therapeutic work, which I said the burger analogy, which is the top layer and bottom layer or nothing but going into the trance, coming out of the trance, and the stuff, whatever is filled, is nothing but the very psychotherapy tools which have been used across the world. If hypnotherapy is not, if someone is saying hypnotherapy doesn't work, which means these therapeutic tools are not working. We are using the
Wow,
same
the
therapeutic,
same tools
but in the trance.
in the
That's
trance.
it.
So explain me, what is trance? Because this is the biggest myth busting. Because a lot of people that I speak with, and they are like, you know, in a lot of age groups, 30s, 40s, and even 20s. Like, I speak with them, and the first thing they say to me is, I don't want to lose control, so I am not open to hypnotherapy. What does control mean to them? Or maybe, do they really lose control? Does trance make you lose control?
Yeah. So let me help you. First thing is, these days, like the language which is used, like someone is under hypnosis, all this stuff. Please, my request to everyone is hypnotherapy not to be linked with anesthesia. Okay, so a person is under the effect of anesthesia, but in hypnotherapy, there is nothing called losing of your consciousness. In fact, you are in a heightened level of awareness because you are aware of what's happening around you, even to the sounds which you have not paid attention to or in your awareness. So, the trance exactly is nothing but where your logical mind is bypassed, and we are moving from, like, see, our brain has different waves which we can scientifically prove, which is like beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Okay, so we are helping a person to calm down and go into the alpha like state. So it is a just relaxed state which we need this environment internally, so that this state is utilized for the therapy. Losing the control, losing the awareness is a myth because of movies.
Yeah.
It
Because
is
they show
never
you
to
the
be.
clock going, which is so not true.
Yes, like sleep and the person, and you do all the nonsense like in the villain. Unfortunately, hypnosis is used only by the villains in the movies, Prachi. So that's where the people are scared that, oh my god, what if I end up telling the secrets which I don't want to tell, or what if I'm made to cluck like a chicken, or I don't remember, or all that stuff. So
Are you
this
telling
is
me we're not
always.
going to cluck like chicken? I was actually looking forward to that.
So this is where, so please, 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 my request is never. And yes, there are different depths of hypnotherapy, like as I said, Prati, even more deep layer which is called somnambulism is utilized for dental processes. Dentists also use hypnotherapy, and there is in YouTube also, you guys can search for surgeries performed utilizing the hypnotherapy
Wow.
without
So
anesthesia.
it's
Yeah,
so
so for
advanced.
such
Yeah.
things we need deep trance, else the light trance is enough.
That is amazing. And would you, what I'm saying is like, how will you like I already asked you about the myth busting, but how would you connect it to age related question? That is hypnotherapy age related at all? Like, okay, people in their 30s can receive it faster, or in their 20s can receive it faster, but sometimes they're like your healing process is faster when you're younger, or when you're getting older your healing process is slower. Because I do feel differently in my 30s than I used to feel in my 20s, in terms of, yeah, I had way more emotions in my 20s, and I feel much more calmer. But I feel like that's due to not just age, but due to how much meditation I do. Like, but in terms of hypnotherapy, does age factor matter? Like, the more older you are, the deeper you have to go, and you have to deal with all this older trauma, as opposed to if you're younger, you can receive it faster.
Yeah, let us use the example of hard disk. It all depends not about the age but how much data you have stored in your hard disk. If your hard disk has so much data, this which means, like, what I want to tell is, Prati, if children or they are high on imagination, so working with children becomes very easy because imagination is one of the very key ingredient in the hypnotherapy.
Yeah,
When it comes to
absolutely.
adults, like, our logic has enough developed and all that, like, does this work, what if, is it safe? And also sometimes, Prati, a person who has gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of traumatic experiences and multiple issues are going on, for such people, yes, it would take a while. What I mean by taking a while is they might need multiple sessions. But with children and with the youngsters, there is very less data inside their hard disk to deal with. So just like, Sadhguru says, you just uh, cover up the small patch of their torn jeans and just take care of a little bit of their hairstyle and all that stuff. They are fixed, they have nothing much to deal. But as a person ages, cultural, religious, and nowadays gender, and like many
Social
things, as a
media.
person ages, social media and all that. So one is, as so many life experiences shape us, there are enough traumas to be also be dealt with.
Yeah.
So that's where the therapeutic process takes longer duration. But if a person is open to healing, it doesn't matter if it is hypnotherapy or any other form of psychotherapy, Prati, the openness of the person is more important than the age. However, to be honest, children are amazing to work with because of their openness, and they're just there with their imagination and all that. The healing is very quicker. The less you interfere, the better the healing process is. That's why hypnotherapy differentiates from the other forms of therapy, because we are bypassing the critical faculty, Prati. That is
Yeah.
very important. Yeah.
That's such a beautiful explanation, because I had a 6-year-old that I mean, that's my friend's daughter, and I loved it when I saw her meditating one day and going into deep trance, and because it felt like such an, like, amazing thing to watch, a 6-year-old going into trance, and with the music she was like this, and I'm like, when she came out of it, I'm like, what did you see? Do you see anything? Because you're just gone, and she's like. And in her innocence, she said, like, there is a lot of stars and a lot of moons that I imagine. And I'm like, okay. And you know what? For her, that is meditation. And I think she's healing much faster than an adult would, because she's not stopping the amount of moons. She said a lot of moons. And an adult logic says there's only one moon. So we're going to interrupt that process. And her imagination
Exactly.
said, I have 1,000 moons. And she doesn't give a damn if she's seeing them. She's just there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that the world of imagination, that doesn't have to be real, because at the end of the day, your imagination is personal to you. And if it's real to you, it's real.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so true. So what I in terms of deep diving, is it scary? Does it really hurt your emotions? Or some people are afraid that it is such a trend that you might have to come across or face many, like, I don't know, hidden, like I was talking about Mariana Trench, the monsters of your subconscious, or it's going to be painful because they're going to be taken back to that memory that they have worked so hard to bury it, and now they will have to uncover the memory and it's going to hurt them. Is that true, or it doesn't work like that?
Yeah, see again, Pratik, there are different. See, hypnotherapy, though the name is one, like psychotherapy. Under the psychotherapy, there are more than 3 to 400 forms of therapeutic tools. In the similar way, hypnotherapy also has solution-focused based therapy. Indirect hypnosis, also called as Ericksonian conversational hypnosis, and the one which I specialize is called abreaction therapy or regression to cause. Here, yes, what you said is the person is not going into the traumatic memories. What we will tell you, there are two different situations. I'll quote. Shall I share some case studies so that you will understand
Yes,
in a
that would
better way?
be very interesting
So
to know a case study.
yes, so there was this lady who was around 64, 65. Imagine, she says, Nizam, in my life, I never felt what is love towards myself and others. I married because my parents wanted. I married. I did not have any choice. I have kids. I have grandkids. Yes, I'm in touch with them. I fulfill my responsibilities and all that. But I never feel what is this love in my heart. I don't know what is love, what people talk about. I feel so numb and 64-year-old.
Yeah.
And what happened is, uh, as I said, in the trance, we bypassed the critical faculty, and then we went following the emotions, which is called bridge. Just imagine like a bridge. Okay, so the current emotions are now taking into the past, and we ended up where she was sexually molested by her neighbor, whom she thought father like person, and the memory is completely buried. She has no clue. However, the unaddressed emotional wound, this girl felt that it is not safe to trust people. I can't, this, it is never safe to trust people. I am dirty, I am unwanted. I do not know what all he made her to believe at that age, Prate. And then we had to clear all those emotions. So, what I said, the affect bridge, the current emotions leading to the root cause. And once she got healed from it took couple of sessions. However, then she started becoming more playful with her grandkids. She texts me that, Nizam, I never had these beautiful moments with my kids and my husband at this age. So yes, one is suppressed, which you are aware and which is bothering you. Repressed, which you are not even aware what has happened with you, uncovers as layers and layers in the hypnosis. So what we are doing, we are, when we are aware that the person has gone through a traumatic event, we are not going to take them. See, whether we address the root cause or not, these unhealed emotions are affecting us in different forms, what we call as abreacting. Some persons unhealed emotions could be impacting in the form of skin allergies. Some persons like IBS, the very popular health issue, gut related one, so many people have unhealed past. Like someone was yelled at by their school teacher or something, and every time they step out of the house, or every time they are exposed to any sort of triggering situation, they have this sensitive stomach, right? So yes, one is what has been forgotten is surfacing in the session. Second one is what you are not able to get over, what has happened in the past. We are not taking into the emotion and all that stuff. There are a well trained regression therapist knows how to
Mm,
handle. It is
mm,
not like, see, there are like Udemy based
mm.
hypnotherapy courses. There are just one day you are a master hypnotist, one day,
It
2 days
shouldn't be
workshop
like
you are a,
that. No.
yes, you're a master hypnotist, and other person is coming and putting their life into your hand with so much trust, and the bottle of the can of worms is open and the person doesn't know how to handle it. It is, the trauma work is very different, Prati. Yes, certain times the repressed suppressed memories do come to the surface, and there are different ways to deal with it. There are different ways to heal with it. So a person need not be scared that what if something comes out of me and I do not know what to do, and what if this, what if that. However, the unhealed trauma is always impacting your life. Let's
Mm,
say a girl who has been sexually abused by her father in the childhood has intimacy issues with her partner. A boy who was, let's say, was made fun of by fellow girls would always become with this inferiority complex, and I'm not good for, and would be always feeling low in office or talking to girls. So there are many things that are shaping up our current personality.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
healing that helps a lot. So yeah, when it comes to trauma work, Prati, it needs lot of expertise. It needs very very extensive training, understanding on how to handle such situations. There are the way we take the case history, and there are like, oh my god, these days therapists do not have, you remember me, I was also telling, this case history plays a vital role, because I want to understand how your personality has shaped up. It is like, you have 5 minutes, just tell me quickly what is the issue and let's get into therapy. No, like one of my mentors in health coaching, she says, we are living in the microwave society. We want everything to be quick fixed. It doesn't work like that. Trauma work needs to be, the person has already been traumatized for various reasons, and there could be multiple traumas a person is going through. So a lot of compassion work and holding the space is needed, Raji.
That is so true.
So it,
And that raises
yeah.
so many questions. But of course, we have half an hour. And I was thinking, like, there's so many questions. You cut out on one, I think your internet cut out for 1 second. I think when you said about the neighbor who was trusted to her, is that what you're saying? With the question,
Yes.
was trusted. And I think that raises so many questions that most of the time, we are being like molested, or people, children, girls, boys even, they are being cheated by people they trust. And that,
Yes.
when that happens, it creates a story in their mind, and that story stays with them forever, that do not trust. And whether that story is relevant in this day and age or not, it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of times I have asked this question to myself, and I went round and round in circles for years in the past, asking myself that why, why people do that, why people do this, why people do that. And I found this a beautiful, beautiful saying before I was logging in to interview you, and it was said by the late Imran Khan, who was the Indian actor. He said in one of the Hollywood movie that he, I think the Da Vinci Code that he acted in, and he said that life is messy. There is no answer to so many whys sometimes. Why they cheated me? Why it happened to me? Why it had to be my father? Why it had to be my neighbor? There is so many whys that we're never going to find. That is so messy. It's like random. It's random pieces of puzzle that will mind boggle you until you accept them and stop creating stories around them. And by the end of the journey, those puzzles will create a big picture that you'll be able to see. And in my eyes, that big picture, now I'm very spiritual. In my eyes, that end of the journey doesn't end in this life. It can end in multiple lives. That's why I feel like that's what he was trying to say. If it doesn't make sense yet, it won't. That was like such a beautiful thing I heard. I want to ask one last wild question to you, because there's so many deep interactions we had today. It feels like I can go on. But you said that you're not a hypnotherapist only, you're also a psychologist, and in terms of a counselor, psychologist. But you deal with yin and yang. But because in my podcast, what I want to bring people is touching with the yin and yang. If they want to still see a psychologist, or they should be able to, or if they want to see both people, they should be able to. Now, in your journey or in your profession, how do you differentiate between the two? When you're playing the role of a counselor and when you're playing the role of a hypnotherapist, how do you separate them with your client, and what different results do they get out of it?
Okay. Again, see, it all depends situation to situation, Rati. Like, let's say there is, I'll give a couple of examples. Maybe that's where you can understand how counseling and hypnotherapy actually go hand in hand. And see, there is this person who came to know that her husband was cheating on her, and she said, like, what's point in staying with a person who's cheating on me? And the story was long and all that stuff. However, she just wanted a person to talk and understand if her decision whether to divorce her husband was right or wrong. Just there is a person who is non-judgmental, and who is listening empathetically and not advising. However, we are just exploring the options of pros and cons, like what about the future of my daughter, who is very much attached to her father. However, now the relationship is over, like what do I do, what are the options? It's all about a bit of counseling, a bit of coaching there. There's not a very deep need of therapeutic work to be done. She needs someone to talk to who doesn't again judge her. So this is the context a bit of counseling comes into the picture, Prati. Whereas, let's say the same person now got the clarity that yes, that it is time to move on from this relationship. Yes, my daughter is attached to my husband. However, they can meet whenever they want, but I'm done with the relationship. She's out of it. Now comes the part of how could my husband cheat on me? I'm like, I did everything, I gave my best, all that stuff, and she's like somewhere doubting on herself that maybe I'm not good enough. That's why, see, husband has done something wrong, and now she's blaming herself for husband not being faithful in the relationship. So here comes the therapeutic part, where she has been always shamed and blamed right from childhood. So it is the husband cheating on her is a trigger, but there are n number of past related traumatic experiences where she has a pattern of whatever goes wrong, she is the reason.
Yeah.
So now comes the hypnotherapy to clear off all that. That, see, my dear, your husband cheating on you has got nothing to do with. Even if you are so perfect 10 on 10, still he would cheat. It is not because of you, it is about him.
It is
So
about
all
him.
those things need to be cleared. There comes the role of hypnotherapy. However, like, we need not have hypnotherapy sessions for anything and everything. Some things just need a basic exploration, a bit of clarity and all that. A normal counseling session would do. So this is where I differentiate with this example.
Fantastic. So that tells me that if you need to take some practical steps in life, which is so important, and you need a listener around it, that's when you need a counseling. And when you need to clear something deep embedded emotionally, trust in terms of trust and everything, that's when you need the hypnosis, and when both of the parties
Hypnotherapy.
come together
Yes.
and creates a yin and yang, and creates a perfect circle. I love it because that de-stories so many things in your life, and that's why I call it recreate my story, because you're literally recreating your story, because you've been living.
Yes.
That lady was living the molester story. This person was living her partner's story. We live our parents' story 80% of the time. There's
Yes.
so many stories we live that we don't have time to live our own story. I love that. Thank you so much, Nizam. We are finished with the podcast, and I loved it so much that everything was perfect. And with that note, I feel like there's so much to talk to, and we can do another one.
Definitely.
Like, yeah, another one with like so much more conversation and more case studies that people can actually, so people can relate to those case studies. But thank you so
Yes.
much. Pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure talking to you too. Thank you very much, Prati.